we talked to the Nurse Raptitioner Wes Tank about his recent YouTube series of Dr. Seuss raps. You are listening to episode 428 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everybody, welcome back. We have a very special show for you today. It's going to be a fun one, as always, but this one even funner, I think. I am Chris, your host, but I am not doing this alone. Joining me, I have Lee.
Hey everyone.
Tracy.
Hello everyone.
And our very special guest today, we have Wes Tank. Hey Wes.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Hey Wes.
Hi.
Finally glad we could actually sit down and get you. This has been a long time in the making.
Yes, it has.
I've been listening to a lot of music in the meantime. But I'm glad you are here.
Look, I have been telling everyone I can about these. Even I played them, the girl that sits next to me at work, I even played them for her a few weeks ago. She loved them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like that crossover of childhood memories and like cool beats.
It's literally the perfect combination.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump into it.
Yes.
So he's an actor, a writer, director, and more importantly, a rapper that spits bars. So Wes, before we get into it, which is your recent YouTube series of you spitting some awesome Dr. Seuss rhymes, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your background, your acting, and your rapping in particular?
For sure. So I'm 36-year-old white guy who has been living in Wisconsin and rapping, I guess, for about 20 years now.
Wow.
But really, I'm just kind of an artist. I make rap songs. I make visual art, films. I have a production company. And basically, I just make lots of work. And I've been just kind of like producing tons of stuff over this time. And one of those things that I was doing was developing these Dr. Seuss videos. I'm sorry, the rap songs.
Yeah.
Because they weren't really imagined as videos when I first started doing them.
Okay.
They were just performances that I did. They were like one-offs in the middle of a music set where I was playing originals.
Yeah.
And, I was at a basement show in Minneapolis and I picked up a copy of One Fish, Two Fish that was like on the floor or something. And I just happened to have a Dr. Dre beat in my phone. And I was like, I'm gonna do something right now. It was like spontaneous in the middle of a set in like, a basement show, like punk show. And the crowd went like bananas and they just, that sort of strike of lightning that you're like, whoa, they responded differently to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but I didn't like, I wasn't like, oh, this is the secret to the universe here. But it was like, oh, there's something there. So I would pop a Dr. Seuss book into various music sets over the next few years. After that, I got approached by this place in a town called Sheboygan. That's a little north of here. And they have like a storybook garden place. It's called Bookworm Gardens.
Oh, cool. And
they were like, would you come and read here? And would you rap your Dr. Seuss books, but only do that? And I'm like, oh, wow. Well, at that time, maybe I did I think I was doing like Fox and Socks, Green Eggs and Ham, One Fish, Two Fish. I think those were maybe the only ones I was doing. I did do Lorax once at a comedy show because somebody specifically wanted me to do the Lorax for like Earth Day or something.
I know we're going to get into it much more later on when we talk about the actual videos
Sorry,
themselves. No, it's fine. I was just going to
that.
say, but the Lorax is my favorite. If I'm looking for one of yours to listen to just for 10 minutes, because they are 10 minutes, that's a good thing. You're getting your money's worth out of them. The Lorax is the one I go to. It's awesome, but I think the Lorax is... It's such a good... We're actually not going to get into the Lorax, so we can get into it a little bit here. The Lorax is... And Tracy, you say it all the time about Dr. Seuss, and I think a lot of them are relevant. The stories are relevant today as they were when they were written however many years ago, and the Lorax definitely is, but it's the way you rap them, I think, more than anything else, because it's not just like a bog standard rap. You put yourself into them, which is what I love about the most. The little asides, I'm trying to which one specifically. It's the one
I know
about
where you're
Zans.
going.
Have you a Zans for Kens? You should. You should.
Yeah.
That's my favourite bit in any of your videos is that little, you should. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about it, but I find myself saying that a lot.
Yeah, but in Wes' voice as well. That's,
Yeah.
I'll be at work and it's like, have you had a cup of tea? You should. You should. just randomly, because I love little things like that. I just find them so awesome.
Yeah.
But we've obviously had COVID-19 this year, which has screwed up a lot of things. So you've had a lot of time to devote to your creative endeavors, Wes. And yeah, it's been an interesting year for you. And these came out of nowhere. And obviously with us doing the podcast about Islands of Adventure, or Universal Studios, or Universal Orlando, I should say, and Zeus Landing being such a big part of that, and Tracy's favourite land, everyone was sending us, you should check these out, they're awesome. And then it just became a thing where we were like, these are amazing.
Yes.
Wow. It's so interesting. Like, people always tell me like the different ways that they found out about it, and how a lot of times it's people that I know who, like, other people who don't know that I know them, send them the video. You know, like, my sister sent me this and she doesn't know that I know you. And always a lot of those. But that's cool. I mean, it speaks to like the greatness of like Theodore Geisel's whole, you know, the expansiveness of the quality of the work that he was doing.
Yeah. And
I feel like, you know, and there's other people that have rapped Dr. Seuss. I'm not the only one that has done it.
You are in our eyes.
And but like, rap is funny because it's just sort of it's like a really competitive genre. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like everyone's trying to be the best rapper. And, you know, I don't come at this from like a rapper perspective. I've never really like taken on that type of persona. I'm just like more like a librarian. I'm like, look at all these great books. Like, let's find ways to, you know, engage with them and make them, you know, keep them feeling relevant with younger audiences. And I sort of stumbled onto this thing that like, once I started creating it more as a concept and realizing that like, it's very important that it be Dr. Dre and Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's funny because of the doctor thing.
Yeah.
But there's something about Dr. Dre's beats in particular that build, and the pacing of the way that his beats build matches the pacing of the way Dr. Seuss books build.
It's like they fit so well. It was like they were made for each other.
Yeah, well, you get like the iconic Dr. Seuss stories and iconic Dr. Dre beats, and boom.
Match made in heaven.
Oh, they really are. They really are. They work so well. Like I say, we'll get into it a bit more later, because the amalgamation of the two is just so interesting, because the background beats that you've picked with the specific books you've picked, I want to discuss how that came about, because they work. You kind of just stumbled across it, because the ones you've picked work so well with the books you've picked. Anyway, but I love these so much. I listen to them constantly.
You're a bit excited there, aren't you?
I love them. It's just...
Who's the Zeus fan?
Even our daughter, I listen to them in the bathroom. I'm going to embarrass myself. Our daughter is sick to death because her bedroom is next to the bathroom, and she's sick to death of hearing them at this point, because they're on all the time. But she's 16. She doesn't know anything about
She doesn't
music.
like anything at the moment.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, that's a time to go through, I guess.
Yeah.
We're all going
I'll
through
be glad
it.
when she's finished it at this point.
I think what would be even funnier is like she's never heard the actual Dr. Dre songs and only associates it with these lyrics. And then now she hears it on the radio. She's like, oh, another Dr. Seuss song.
How the hell is this on the radio? Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, somebody sampled Dr. Zeus.
That would be funny, yeah. She'll be messaging Wes on Instagram. Someone's plagiarizing your stuff here.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of kids from this past, kids that were at the right age this past few months, are, you know, they're getting introduced to Dr. Dre in a very different way.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I said was, where was this at bedtime? Like 10 years ago.
It's good though, because it's a great way of introducing another generation. I know Dr. Seuss has like completely skips generations. It's a generational thing. Parents pass it down. But it's another way of introducing those in a more modern way and getting kids interested in that as well,
it's
which
not really a thing here.
Dr. Seuss?
Yeah.
No, they're not really. Like I say, we've only really discovered the Dr. Seuss books from having gone to Universal Orlando because of that land.
Interesting.
And we have all the books now, and it stems from that, because they're not. I think if you ask a lot of British people, they wouldn't. Maybe
We know
from
the Grinch and
from
Cat in the Hat.
from the
the
movies,
movies,
but
yeah.
not necessarily from the books themselves.
They're missing out. Yes.
It's a whole empire.
It
It
is.
really is.
It is. And I happily live in the middle of it. Yes. Right. So since we approached you to be on the podcast, which has been a while, it's been
It
a
really
journey.
has. As soon as I found those videos, like I need to get hold of Wes. We need Wes on the show.
Yes. It's been a really busy time for you. So
Yeah.
tell us about Cadoodle and everything else you've got going on.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. So I was in the middle of the beginning of the year, and I'm producing all these videos for my production company, Tank. And I work with a lot of like nonprofits and educational companies and different things like that
Awesome.
that sort of rely on funding in different ways. And basically, suffice it to say, all the budgets like got frozen essentially when the shutdown happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so suddenly I found myself with like nothing to do. And that's like never happened to me because I'm just constantly, I've been busy the last few months, but I'm always like busy.
Yeah.
It's just something that, it's just the way life is, I guess. I was like walking around a lot and thinking about like, what should I do with this time? And I essentially was out picking up trash and putting it in because like the park across the street from my house was just like filthy. The snow had just melted. All the trash was revealed.
Ugh.
I was like, I need to like clean up this park.
That sounds like a really bad zoo story.
I know. I know it has the makings of something like that. So while I was doing that, I started thinking about, I was wearing gloves and stuff, but I was like, you know what? This probably is not a good idea to do during a pandemic.
No.
Like, I was like, maybe I'll just save the trash for next year once like we can walk around amongst each other. During that time, I got the idea to record some of these Dr. Seuss songs that I had been performing at Bookworm Gardens. I did that and it got posted to Reddit and it went viral pretty quickly after I did Fox and Socks. And then I was like, okay. And it was great because I didn't have work. I was like, okay, I'm just going to, become a YouTuber and just do this.
Plenty of people make a living off it now, apparently.
Yeah. And essentially I'm like, okay, so just responded to the situation I was in with like the abilities that were in my toolkit and started doing them. Things started taking off. We got approached by this company called Cadoodle that is a kids streaming service out of Calgary, Canada.
Okay.
And they're like a kind of an amazing godsend that was like, they were like, we really love what you're doing. We really want it on our platform. Can we work together? And I was like, yeah. So I gave them the videos at the time because they were like, look, we're a safe alternative to YouTube. So there might be kids that can watch your stuff on YouTube, but then it can, YouTube is not like a lot of parents won't give their kids free reign on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a dark algorithm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's predatory and it's not cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, never thought of that.
So I'm like, I was making these just, put them out there. I'm like, have a place to like archive this work that I've done and didn't expect that much to come of it. But I'm like, oh, if this is actually going to be utilized like this, like parents are actually like finding uses for this. And teachers who are suddenly like virtual teaching and need to send videos to their students, like to just try to like get their attention. I'm like, okay, well, why don't I do this? They said, I can still post anything I want on YouTube and it's like all good. I just like, will start giving them these videos and they'll put them out. Well, that went on for a while and it was great, but the videos kept doing better and better and it kept going viral. And essentially at that point, Cadoodle was like, well, we're thinking about getting into doing original content.
Okay.
Because normally they just kind of do what they did with me, where they'll approach a page that they like and they'll license it.
Yeah.
The way that any streamer will license a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they asked me if I want to do this. I had already been thinking about like, how can I do something like in a similar format, but more original and not dealing with copyrighted material where, there's like a little bit of a questionable, like, is this parody or is this like a cover, or what is the, how do we legally define this? I'm like, I don't have that problem because I'm a writer and a rapper and I can make my own songs and stuff. Yeah. So then basically we developed this show called Story Raps that is now up on the Cadoodle platform, and
awesome,
where we produce an original song, basically a children's book, and a video like every week. We technically do about 3 per month, but with the way our schedule has gone, we really haven't had a week off.
Yeah.
So you said you're creating the story as well?
Yep.
Wow.
But so basically they wanted us to do stuff that had a recognizable aspect to it. So they were like, would you take public domain content and make it your own?
Okay.
So things like old English fairy tales like the Three Little Pigs or the Three Little Bears, things like that, or Aesop's Fables. We did Tortoise and the Hare, Mother Goose, nursery rhymes and stuff. Basically, we're taking that type of stuff and shooting it in the same way as the Seuss videos, and then like drawing our own illustrations and working with local artists to kind of put it all together and make it. I'm aware that it's not like going to be the same as the Seuss stuff, because there's that like secret element of Dr. Seuss and Dr. Dre that's missing. I realize that.
Of course.
It's not the same, but it is genuine, and it is something where like I'm trying to connect with the audience, you know, and I'm trying to do something that's like a little bit bigger than just Seuss and Dre.
Yeah, it's a great collaborative effort as well for someone who's trying to find the feet in producing their own stuff, that you're reaching out to local artists for that, and then writing the stuff as well. It's like a showcase for not just you but other people as well. It's a great collaborative effort.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's a labor of love. Like, we're all just tickled that we get to be, you know, making children's books together and making songs together, you know, and have a little bit of a budget to do that with. And we're just like, oh, this is just a dream job to be doing.
Well, I still catch them when I can, and I'm enjoying them as well. So it's not just the kids that like
it's that
them.
weird thing. It's like, you look, I think we've talked about before, any teaching should be done musically, because you think, like, I can hear a song from my childhood that I haven't heard for
Couple of years.
30, 35, 40 years at this point, and still sing along. Like, and I can hear a song from the 80s now that I haven't heard in 20 years and still know 90% of the lyrics. And it's like, how do I even remember that stuff? And yet the stuff you get taught in school, it's like, oh, I remember that, I wasn't interested. So every lesson should be taught musically, because then it'll stick in your head.
That's a good point. I mean, that's definitely where we're headed with things. Definitely thinking about what are all the things we can do to create content that's like exciting to listen to and fun, and you can listen to it in your car.
Yep.
You know,
I know.
And be cool. And then, or in the bathroom, whatever.
Lee's favorite place.
I'm saying nothing.
But still, like, you know, feel like it's a good thing to, you know, it's enriching content somewhat.
It is.
Or just fun.
Yeah, because it's really going to get kids, because kids love music, and it's going to get kids. It's if you're reading a story, kids, like, there'll be those kids that are interested in those kids that they'll kind of zone out, but you put it to music, and then it's going to pick kids' ears up, and they're going to be like, what's this?
Yeah.
I want to hear more of this.
That's why a lot of things, like, there's an alphabet song, and there's, you know, the rainbow song and things like that, because it sticks in your head.
I always think back to that bloody count numbers song from Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's how I learned to count. It wasn't, but anyway.
The count.
I can still remember that song, and I should hope I do.
Well, I'm sure you can count. Wow. I just want to jump in with something. So Wes, I did have a smile to myself, because you'd had like a little, I suppose it was a poll of what you should dress up for at Halloween, and you can end up as everything. What exactly was in that costume again?
Oh, well,
that was brilliant.
We said, do you want me to be a robot, a pirate, a scarecrow, or a vampire? And it was like a pretty even count of what we had.
So the answer was just yes.
And then there was even like this one group they were like, well, we're a whole class of students and we have 14 votes for pirate. I'm like, okay. So anybody could, but like, I'm like, that's very cute and I will take it into consideration.
It was spectacular.
So I decided to just be the robot pirate Scarecrow. And then
Perfect.
At one point during the song, I rap as Edgar Allan Poe as a vampire.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
Edgar Allan Poe as well.
Once upon the midnight dreary, while I pondered the weekend weary.
And that's what we need.
Quaint and curious, volume of forgotten lore.
Perfect.
That's
Amazing.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was so much fun.
Thanks.
All right. Well, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Taken a ride through New York with Jimmy Fallon? Visited the Truffle Trees in Seuss Landing or hung out with a real-life Transformer? No? Then what are you waiting for? At Universal Orlando Resort, there truly is an option for everyone. Or if you're leaning a little more towards pixie dust rather than wands and potions, Disney destinations around the globe await your arrival. No matter the adventure, our sponsors have you covered. Be sure to let the experts at Mouse & Muggle Travel Company take care of all your travel needs, earning the distinction of being an earmarked agency specializing in Disney destinations as well as becoming one of the first to be named a U Preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. Mouse & Muggle Travel Company will ensure you receive top-rated customer service. Just visit mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a no-obligation quote request or send your request to info@mouseandmuggle.com. Their team can take care of you no matter where in the world you want to go. With a flick of their wand and a little bit of pixie dust, the process will be so seamless, some might even say it's simply magical.
Welcome back. So we are now going to get into Wes's Dr. Seuss raps, and we've chosen 4 out of the 8 he has recorded. We've chosen these 4 because they all have elements at Islands of Adventure, Seuss Landing, except one, which is here because it's Tracy's favorite.
See, Tracy, that's how much I love you, that I left my favourite out and put your favourite in.
Because you knew you'd get slapped if you didn't.
And we'll explain to you, Wes, what the elements in Islands of Adventure are, because eventually what you need to do is go and re-record your Dr. Seuss videos in Seuss Landing. It would be amazing.
Oh man, I would love to perform there.
It would be amazing.
A big budget rap video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Let's make it happen.
Awesome.
with the Grinch and everything jumping in. That'd be great.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Or just get you a resident show there in Seuss Landing. That would be amazing.
I need to said something.
Ali, if you're listening, we need to make this happen, by the way.
I need to said something
Yeah.
very inappropriate there.
Let's just leave that there.
La 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 la.
I would love to. I mean, that would be amazing.
It really
That's so
would.
cool that they have that there.
It
Yeah.
is.
All right. Well, first up, we have One Fish, Two Fish.
One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, black fish, blue fish, old fish, new fish. This one has a little star. This one has a little car. Say, what a lot of fish there are. Yes, some are red and some are blue, some are old and some are new. Some are sad and some are glad and some are very, very bad. Why are they sad and glad and bad? I don't know. Go ask your dad.
Lee's acting that
I
out
just
completely.
love how you've put a proper gangster rap on it, on a Dr. Seuss book. It's hilarious.
I now need, so I need to see the Grinch and all the characters like with the big heavy gold chains and the snapbacks and all of this.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the one at the party in Minneapolis that I did. Found the copy of One Fish, Two Fish, the deep cover by Dr. Dre beat.
It just works so well.
does.
Because the thing is, as well, the attraction at Islands of Adventure that's based on is a spinner ride, but you control, so it's like a spinner attraction with red fish and blue fish, obviously, with the actual One Fish, Two Fish song playing. So what I want to see is them get rid of that song and put your rap on there. Because you have to, it tells you to go up, 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 or down, 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 and it squirts water. So if you get the
You get it
song wrong,
wrong,
you
yeah.
get squirted in the face, basically.
Oh, that's cool. That would be awesome.
So going back to what we kind of talked about earlier, was there any? So the music, we said the amalgamation of the music and the books together feels like it wasn't just it didn't just happen that you sort of chose the specific music to go with that book. Is that a case, or was it just a lucky accident?
It was such a lucky accident. I'm sorry to say.
That's was sometimes how the best things are made.
I swear to you, I just had I had a whole playlist of instrumentals on my phone, and I needed a song, and I was like, Dr. Seuss, Dr. Dre, perfect, let's go. Boom. And I just was like, one fish, two fish. Like, it just happened like that. And that song goes through a couple of beats too. Mm-hmm. I think there's 2 more beats in it. Next Episode and Real Slim Shady.
Yes.
Which is an Eminem song, but a Dr. Dre beat. And those ones came later. Those ones were like highly curated and picked to fill out. Because I think what I started realizing was that, I just rapped over Deep Cover the way the beat was structured. Didn't change it at all. That's like a third of that book. That book is long.
Yeah, it is.
It's for being like a beginner Dr. Seuss book. It's like it does not end like when you think it should like be enough.
Yeah, it's about a week long.
Yeah. Maybe the attention span is different now than whenever they made that.
Quite possibly, yes. That is quite possible.
It was an earlier one, wasn't it? Maybe the 50s or 60s. That was when I started realizing too, I'm like, I can't just have the one beat from this song like looped 3 times. There needs to be some sort of a narrative like response to this with the beats. And when it's like, what's the part of the song that happens there? It's like the Zans, like he's like,
yeah,
it's like, or no, it's it is the Zans, but it's also,
that's my favorite bit, the Zans, because you should. Yeah,
right. That's your favorite. It's so epic. The music is so epic, and it's my hat is old, my feet
yes,
are cold.
I love
have
that
a
bit.
bird that I like to hold.
Yeah.
Like the fact that character gets such a big epic introduction by those like strings of the buildup, and it's going to be da 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 da, but instead of da 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 da, it's like my hat is old, my feet are cold, I have a bird that I like to hold.
Oh my god, I'm in heaven! I'm getting a live performance. It's amazing.
Yo, the voices totally come from the pictures. Like I look at the pictures and I think about how that guy talks.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
That's what I'm saying. You could have just wrapped them all. Just basic Wes Tank, and you haven't. You've put different characters onto them, and it's so good.
You got to do the voices.
It's so good.
Otherwise, it's like are you reading a children's book? What are you doing?
Exactly.
Are you rapping? Yeah. Are you reading a children's book? I don't know. Do the voices always.
Some of these, the one we're going to talk about at the end, very specifically, they kind of build up. This is an easy book. I've watched your blooper reel. And Fox and Socks. I'll bury the Fox and Socks, which we're putting on as the last one. How the hell you managed that? It must have been done in multiple takes, but we will discuss that later. These are like this man. I don't think he was right in the head because some of the words that he makes up are just absolute nonsense.
He was very creative.
Not nonsense, inventive.
Nonsense.
Thank you.
Trendsetter.
Like the Lorex is very specifically like what a snurgly hose is. I do not know.
I use that word daily. I don't know what you're talking about.
And these weird creatures like the brown babaloots. I actually call the dog a brown babaloot now because of that.
She's not brown.
I know she's black, but I call her a babaloot. I don't even know what one is.
Even like things like Yelp.
Yep.
Like we Yelp for help. Like I'm like, was on his book there was a Nook. He has a Nook, and I'm like Nook. I'm like, did Barnes and Noble? Wait a second. Yelp? Are these things coming? Like, I feel like Dr. Seuss is just generating
business names.
Quite possibly.
It's like everybody because his words that he makes up, they're sort of undefined in a way.
They're like so unique and they stick.
Yeah, and I'm like, does he own copyright to the words that he invented?
Interesting.
On those things.
That's a thought.
Because it's like, you can imagine when he sat and wrote them, it's just like, I need a word to rhyme with this. I'll just make one up. That'll do.
And why not? It's called artistic license.
There isn't a word that rhymes with that word. I'm just going to make one up. Like
I
a
see,
thneed.
no problem.
What's a thneed?
Everyone needs a thneed.
Need. Yeah.
It's just crazy, but they're
I
brilliant.
love
Like it always kind of got me that these are kids' books, teaching kids how to read, and then you're teaching them to read words that don't really exist outside of those books.
Yeah, but if you can pronounce these words, you can pronounce any word.
That's very
That
true.
is a very good point, Chris. You are right.
And it's fun.
True.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it needs to be fun, but
Of course
yes.
it does.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like they're trying to teach kids to sound out words by the letters and not by the meaning of the word.
Quite
So
possibly.
thneed, it really you have to thneed. It's like THN.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No word does that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any word in the English language that starts with a THN.
No, I can't think of any.
Ah, hilarious.
That's me.
There's an English
Very well,
word.
well played.
There's an English word. I'm not going to say it. There's an English word. I have many conversations
I'm
with our
worried.
American friends
Oh,
that we
no,
pronounce
no,
a different way from you Americans, because apparently the way we say it isn't a way it should be pronounced. When we stop recording, Wes, I will tell you it's not a very nice word, but it is a word that you guys pronounce with a different vowel than it's actually spelt with. And because most Americans tell me that the three words that start that letter, they just don't go together. And I'm like, oh, it does. But anyway, no one knows what I'm talking about right now. So we're Tracy, please move on.
Okay, let's move on and check out the Cat in the Hat then, shall we please?
Boom! Something went bump. How the bump made us jump. We looked and we saw him step in on the mat. We looked and we saw him, the cat in the hat. And he said to us, why do you sit there like that? I know it is wet and the sun is not sunny, but we can have lots of good fun that is funny. I know some good games we could play, said the cat. I know some new tricks, said the cat in the hat. A lot of good tricks.
That was so difficult to pick a 30-second clip out of that because I love the first 30 seconds of it are perfect, but I really like bump. Something went bump. Again, it's Wes Tank putting your thing on it, and it's awesome.
Thank you.
Wes, has anybody ever told you have a very soothing voice?
Thank you.
There's something about hearing Dr. Dre beats that are really hyped up, and then when you're singing it, it just kind of gets you and like just takes you on this ride.
Yep.
Appreciate that. I mean, I hope that it is. I mean, yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I just had to point that out. That's all.
Thanks. It's just my voice. I try to use it for the powers of good.
But again, the music's perfect
appreciated.
for it. Again, it works so well with it.
The music on that one now is a different doctor at the beginning. In the first part of the song, it's Dr. Octagon, who is a different rap producer. I brought in a third doctor, more from the underground hip hop realm, Cool Keith, and it's actually the producer isn't named Dr. Octagon. It's Dan the Automator.
Okay.
Okay.
Just an interesting little difference there, but still a doctor. So
Yes.
Yeah.
he was
Interesting.
allowed in.
More doctors. Any chance we'll ever hear MF Doom beats? Because he is Dr. Doom dressed up as a doctor.
Man.
So.
You know, I definitely have some scratch tracks on my computer of me rapping Shakespeare over MF Doom beats.
I would love to hear that.
And that works.
I love Doom and I love some Shakespeare.
Yeah, some Doom Spear. I really would love to do that. And I'm kind of I tell you, I have so many ideas on the wall that are, in progress or
I'm sure.
thinking about dropping them. And, you never know what we're going to get to. And we're just sort of all kind of a little bit trigger shy about using stuff that has any sort of copyright.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I'm sure it's that thing though that when you were working through these, I know when I'm thinking of stuff for the podcast and you start working on certain things that you would be focusing on one specific thing, Like today I'm going to do Cat in the Hat, and I'm looking at music, and then something else. Oh, I'll have to do that. That'll be amazing. And then something else, and you come up with, even focusing on one thing, half a dozen of these other ideas that you'll either write down and remember, or say, "Oh, I'll remember about that," and completely forget what they are.
That's why I got to write them down on note cards.
But again, this is another one. If I was much better with video, I would have took this. The Cat in the Hat is a dark ride at Alan's Adventure. That basically goes through the story of the book. I would love to see anybody listening who's into video editing and stuff, take Wes's rap and put it over the ride. Would be awesome. Chris, can you imagine riding Cat in the Hat with that over the top of it rather than the actual ride audio?
I'm thinking about it, especially the dark parts when you're doing the spinning.
It would be awesome. It would be so cool.
Little trippy ride.
So,
Really?
headphones.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so intrigued. I really want to go to Universal Orlando now.
As someone
with
who's
us.
immersed yourself in Dr Seuss doing these, I think you'd get a big kick out of it because the land it's so visually stunning and it's just so Dr Seuss.
Yeah.
There's a reason I fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, the Cat in the Hat's a great one. It's another one, probably after the Lorax, it's probably the one that I listen to the most.
Okay.
Especially the first minute or so is awesome.
Cat in the Hat is like a really interesting book because it was written essentially off of a list of words that the publisher gave him.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were like, we want a book for kids that's going to like include these words because we need kids to learn these words.
I didn't know
Keywords,
that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he was like, okay. And then he like came back the next day. It took him one day. I'm just kidding.
Probably did.
I believed you. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, well, I did for a
Yeah,
second.
the next day he showed up. He had the entire book.
And the
written,
drawings.
illustrated, colored in, published. He even published it. No, I'm just,
Cartoon series done a lot.
So you know that you've got the sequel already planned out, that your next video has to be the Cat in the Hat Returns then?
oh yeah,
Because I'd got this confused, because there's like a million things in the next one, isn't there?
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I actually have not read The Cat in the Hat Comes Back. If he would have returned without the hat, then there's a story.
Yes, that would have been more interesting.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love the Cat in the Hat one. Like I say, I'd love to see it. Someone take it and put it over the ride, because there's tons of ride videos on YouTube just to do that, and it would be to see how well it would work. It would be awesome.
I'm taking headphones next time.
Yeah, and just listen to it.
Well, we have the penultimate rap. Let's listen to this one. Green eggs and ham.
I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I would not eat them here or there. I would not eat them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam, I am. A train, a train, a train. Could you want a train? Not on a train, not on a tree, not in a car. Sam, let me be. I would not, could not in a box. I would not, could not with a fox. I would not eat them with a mouse. I would not eat them in a house. I would not eat them.
Oh, green eggs and ham. Who doesn't like green eggs and ham? Green Eggs and Ham at the park is actually a small quick service restaurant that technically doesn't serve green eggs and ham. It used to serve a green eggs and ham sandwich. It now serves tater tots.
Yes.
Oh, there's tater tots with green eggs and
There
ham on
is.
it.
Yes.
And who hash.
But the building is the shape of a green ham, not green eggs.
No green eggs, just green ham.
Green ham. The eggs are actually sunshades on the tables, which are held up by giant forks. It's very inventive.
So the music again, Wes, is perfect for it.
Good.
Was it just a happy accident again, or?
I would say that Green Eggs and Ham was actually like the second one that I developed because I wanted to see like, oh, does this work with other books? And at that point, I started like trying out auditioning different beats with different books.
Yeah.
And Forgot About Dre seemed to have that like, it was good for the cadence.
Yeah.
I wanted to do sort of a similar flow that like Dre and M kind of do on Forgot About Dre, but doing it with Green Eggs and Ham, such a iconic, repetitive flow. Like it kind of like it really took to the sort of like string, not pizzicato, but whatever those strings are called in that song. Just like the it's kind of it's really just an intuitive process. It's not like hyper intellectual when I'm going about this. It's just what feels right when I wrap it.
Yeah.
You know? And I kind of know right away.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
another one I think that's relatively easy to do.
Yeah, green eggs is definitely one of the easier ones
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
It's short and there's nothing like tricky about it. The only thing that's tough is right away at the beginning. It's like 3 or 4 pages. It's like, I am Sam, Sam I am, that's Sam I am, that's Sam I am. So when I do it live, I'm just like I'm going through the pages really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes I'll have a kid like run the PowerPoint of the book. I would do that. And back in the day, like I'd be like, oh, I need a guest to run my magic PowerPoint. And they can't keep up with those first. Like then they're just off for the rest of
Yeah.
the rest of the thing.
I still want to
Yeah.
know what the character's called, because obviously Sam I am, but who's the person?
He's got a name.
Like
can't
I don't
remember.
like them Sam I am. You know you're Sam I am, but what's he called?
I know, and I can't think.
Or is it supposed to be you?
No, he has a name.
Because he's in the parks.
Yes, he has a name,
The character's wandering around. No one knows who he is.
and I can't remember his name.
Oh, look, there's Sam I am and his mate. Yeah.
I'll remember at 3:00 in the morning. I'll be sure to wake you up and let you know.
I mean, Seuss always kind of has these like standing characters that don't have names. A lot of times it's kind of like you said, it is sort of like meant to be the reader.
Yes.
It's like the stand-in for the reader. You know, like the Lorax, like the 2 kids where the Onceler's talking to the whole time.
Yes.
The whole story of the Lorax is told from the Onceler's perspective,
Yes.
but he's talking to 2 kids at the beginning.
Yeah. And that's obviously supposed to be you, kind of.
Or like If I Ran the Circus, it's like this guy telling this story about Mr. McGurkus, the McGurkus Circus.
Ooh.
And it's just all from this eye point of view that's sort of like the surrogate for the reader.
He must have known they were going to build a crappy restaurant after him. The Circus McGurkus Cafe is stupendous. No offense to anyone who works at Universal that's listening. We rag on it all the time. It's a terrible restaurant.
It's a lovely restaurant. They could just
No, the restaurant's lovely. Yeah, the food's crap.
put a bit more
restaurant's
effort into
cool,
the food.
The design of the restaurant is
Yes,
cool.
it's
That's
awesome because there's the High in the Sky Zeus trolley train ride, which is based on the Sneetches, and Sylvester McMonkey McBean actually goes through the restaurant itself, which is cool. You're just never in there because the food's rubbish.
I gotta go to this place.
Oh, it would be awesome.
It would be really cool. It'd even be cool. Like, I'm thinking the Seuss trolley train, that whole thing that they say throughout the entire train ride would be a really cool wrap. I think.
Yes. That's the story of the Sneetches, isn't it?
One side is.
And what's the other side then?
The other side is, it seems, from what I can pick out, it's an amalgamation of other short stories.
Okay.
But that's only, I don't know whether I'm reading too much into it.
Do you know
I
what?
pick
I don't
out the obscure
actually
facts.
pay that much attention to the story being told when I'm on it. Mind you, the last time we were on it was freezing.
It was.
Well, what we have to do is try to get Wes a resident job there at Universal.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be cool.
Residency.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
would be
just a
awesome.
residency going on.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas
That would be
style.
so cool.
It
Man,
would be awesome.
I would love to do the Sneetches. That's like just been I would so love to do the Sneetches.
Sneetches.
So many people have
Sneetches.
asked me to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, God, I want to so bad.
Then do it.
You hear that, Universal?
You hear?
Yes. I think it's 23 Sneetches on my arm, suddenly shouting, yes, yes.
The other one I want to do is the Grinch.
Yes.
Yes,
That
please.
one.
Yes,
I
please.
I've performed the Grinch live several times. I have
Really?
I have it there. I just need to record it.
Yes,
Or
please. I have a birthday
Interesting.
coming up soon. Hint, hint.
well, I do offer birthday performances to my Patreon subscribers at
Ooh.
patreon.com/Wes Tank.
Ding, ding, ding.
Smooth.
So I drop that in there quick.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to my favourite. Fox in Socks. Woo!
Very well then, Mr. Knox, sir. Let's have a talk about the Tweedle Beetles. What do you know about the Tweedle Beetles? Well, when Tweedle Beetles fight, it's called a Tweedle Beetle battle. When they battle in a puddle, it's a Tweedle Beetle puddle paddle. Tweedle Beetles battle with paddles in the puddle. They call it a Tweedle Beetle puddle paddle battle. And when beetles battle beetles in a puddle paddle battle, and the beetle battle puddle is a puddle in a bottle, they call this a Tweedle Beetle bottle puddle paddle battle muddle.
Please tell me you did all that in one take.
I did not.
No, I would have been very impressed.
That's a giant word soup right there.
Oh, it gets worse though.
This was always my favourite book to read to the kids, and I always challenged myself to read it as fast as I could.
Could you do it?
I think I only ever managed it once.
It's tough.
It is.
It's crazy because it's just
Yeah.
a big conglomeration of all these words that really don't go together.
Yeah. That's the idea. It's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
A very, very long tongue twister. Yeah. I only managed it once.
So, Wes, when you set out to do this one, did you realise it was going to be as hard as it is? And was there ever a point when you got like halfway through and just went, you know what? It's not even worth it.
There was a point when I first started it. I was reading it and I was like, at first it's just like, it's very easy. It's like fox, socks, fox, not. Like, it's like, oh yeah, this book's going to be easy. You could just do like the first 2 pages and be like, oh, this will be fine. I'm going to go rap this to a bunch of kids. And then like get in the middle of it up on stage and be like, oh my gosh, I can't. Okay, we're going to just move on to the next song.
Yeah.
It's very challenging as it goes on. It gets faster or it gets more and more syllabically complex,
Yes.
we'll say.
This is one with Ben, Bim, and brooms, isn't it? Ben
Bim brings Ben's broom. Bim brings Bim's broom.
Yeah.
Ben's bent broom breaks. Bim's bent broom breaks. Ben's. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And then
just ridiculous.
Pig bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I talk, just talking normal.
Is
like,
it?
like butter all over my plate.
You've tasted his cocktails.
I have, yeah. It's probably.
Explains a lot.
A couple drinks in. That's how I talk.
It's just to say, if you go, talk to the listeners now, if you go and find the videos and Wes's outtakes video is these are awesome, but it's hilarious because I remember watching it and Tracy going, yep, that's exactly how I react to things when I can't do it right. Like just saying like not expletives, but like random words in place of expletives. It's like, yep. That's me.
Yeah.
Well, we had to leave the expletives on the floor.
I think it's funnier that the were just random words rather than that. I think it suits the Dr Seuss tone, and it's funnier because it's not though. But
Yeah.
And in your head, you're mentally flipping that table because it's like, ah! Oh, yeah. I felt every bit of that pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that blooper reel was from, I think it was from almost all of the Seuss videos. It was
Right.
It was partly Fox and Socks, but it had some of the other ones in there too.
That is
But
surprising.
there was definitely enough bloopers just from Fox and Socks.
Yeah.
Video.
Yeah. Quick question. Have there been any Dr. Seuss stories that you've tried and just couldn't get to work?
Couldn't get. I really worked on If I Ran the Circus. I was close. I would have gotten there had I been able to just keep making videos at my leisure. But that one was really tough. Oh Say Can You Say is really tough. I know I would have broken it eventually, but like that was a very tough one. That was like once I started doing these, people just started like suggesting like, oh, you got to do this book or this.
you mean like
book.
Tracy did with Too Many Daves?
It's a tiny story. And I didn't suggest it. Like, don't.
Yeah, that's really cool. But like, I know I love it when people suggest stuff to do because I'm like, oh, I didn't even know. I wasn't even aware of Oh Say Can You Say.
I don't know.
And that one's like, that one is probably the spiritual sequel to Fox and Socks, but it's like even more intentionally difficult.
Oh, I need to find it. Have we got it?
No, we don't have that one.
Oh, it's
I need to
like
complete the
not
collection.
really that much of a narrative. I don't think it's like one of his better books. But it would be fun to rap. I mean, it would be very difficult to rap, but I think people would probably like it a lot
Yeah.
because it's just silly. There's not like what I like about Fox and Socks is there's kind of like a dramatic tension going on.
Yes.
Like the fox but he's just trying to get Knox to say things. Like I don't know why. there's no stakes involved. Like in Green Eggs and Ham is a similar dynamic of like, why do you want him to eat green eggs and ham? Like there's no underlying tension, and yet the tension is like strong because of I think the wordplay just kind of like disguises everything, and kids don't really care. It's just like, kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think the story with Green Eggs and Ham is the kids won't try stuff that looks horrible, and it's trying to get kids to realise that just because it doesn't look nice doesn't mean it's not going to taste nice.
Well, this is the thing. I am seeing this from a parent's point of view. Except we'd just say, eat it or you'll starve. We wouldn't be as nice as to explain, yeah, these things could be good.
Social services, if you're listening.
What, or you'll starve?
That's exactly what we do.
Thanks. But with like Fox and Socks, come on, what parent, when their kids have started talking, what parent hasn't given their kids difficult words to say and then sat and giggled behind the hands at them buggering it up?
Yeah, these are just... You must have had tell me you had fun doing them though, Wes, because it looked like, I'm sure there was times, especially with Fox and Socks, where you were tearing your hair out going, I just don't want to do this anymore. It's not worth it. But it's got to have been fun overall.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm tearing my hair out while I'm filming, it's definitely, there's a certain pressure I put on myself for like the quality to be at a certain level. Mm-hmm. And when I'm not hitting that, I get like mad at myself. But when I'm looking back at the footage that I just shot, I'm like, if I'm making myself laugh, if I'm just like watching it and I'm just like, I hate this, like it's like something was wrong. But like, I know Fox and Socks, One Fish, Two Fish, Cat in the Hat, some of those like they really set the bar, because like I was watching them and I was like, this is ridiculous. I was like, just seeing, once I put it into my computer and sync up all of the audio and put it to the beat and watch it the way it's going to be seen. And then I start editing it, because I edit them all to myself as well.
Cool.
Okay.
I mean, this was just in quarantine. This was like my project.
Yes.
This just became like, this is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
This was my job. And it was cool, and then it became that, and managing like tons of news organizations trying to interview me, and
sorry about that.
Managers and lawyers and streamers, like all these people came at me. It was cool. I felt like a superstar.
Good. Well, that's what it's about.
You are, man. You are.
Well,
I do have a quick question for you here, because I don't think we talked about it, but I'm a huge fan of wordplay. Nurse Raptitioner. Anything behind that? Or just brilliant wordplay?
I coined that. Other than the fact that I used to work as a medical videographer for a while at a hospital, and I noticed that like there were a lot of doctors around, but there were a couple of doctors around, but there were a lot of nurse practitioners who were the ones that were kind of doing all the work.
Yep.
And it's like the doctors were like the name on the door.
Yep.
But they come in for a little while and they ask a couple questions. They're like, all right, yep, looks good. Okay, make sure you take two and call me in the morning. Mm-hmm. But like the nurse practitioners were doing all the work, so I kind of was like, when people would be like, oh yeah, it's Dr. Tank, like, Dr. Wes, here he comes. Like, I'm like, no. I'm the nurse practitioner that's doing all the work right now of combining these two things. Because Dr. Seuss and Dr. Dre never actually met in real life, but I sort of brought them together in this way, and bringing some very different cultural contexts together into one place. And I feel like I want to put some shine on nurses and nurse practitioners. And then the wordplay just was like, okay, this is going to be official.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool.
I love it. It's genius.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If there's any thought behind it, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I like that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Wes. I know you did mention a Patreon earlier, but please feel free to plug any of your channels, projects, or anything at all, so our listeners can keep up on what's going on with you.
Yeah. So patreon.com/Wes Tank. You can get a lot of like interaction with me one-on-one. I can do performances at your birthday party. I mean, via Zoom. I'm not like flying around the world, but but I could if you became a very high tier member. I guess That's a really good place, though, if you want to have, like, you know, ask me questions or send me your book or something like that. A lot of people have sent books through, and you can also get like special content. We're going to be starting to do some coloring books and stuff from my Story Raps series.
Awesome.
Make sure you go watch Story Raps.
Yes.
We've
Yes.
got like 12 episodes up on Kadoodle.
And they're
They're all up on YouTube as well, I will say. But if you have kiddos and you want them to go to a safe platform, go to Kadoodle.
Definitely.
And yeah, we just released The Sky is Falling today, which is Henny Penny.
Yes.
Out of the old English fairy tales book by Joseph Jacobs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's like a lot of these books that we're doing, or these stories, I should say, come out of the old English fairy tales.
Cool.
We basically redo Henny Penny to not be so much about what the actual story is about, but making it more about how to deal with your fears and how to handle anxiety in a time when everybody's a little bit like on edge.
Yep. Perfect.
There's a lot of noise. It's just about trying to like calm your mind and control the things that you can control and do the things you can do. Much like when I did the Dr. Seuss videos, that was like what I could do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you know what? I should let you know that the videos are all going to be going up on Dr. Seuss's page very soon.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Wow.
Awesome.
So, and I haven't really spoken about that publicly, but
Cool.
Wow.
I mean, those videos
Oh,
are so well
congratulations, that's
produced as
brilliant.
well, Wes. They are like, the raps themselves are great, but you doing them as well. Like I've said all the way through this, you've put you on them, and they're just so good to watch.
Mm-hmm.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Go to my Instagram at Wes_Tank. And yeah, there's a lot of people rapping Seuss out there, you know, and that's fine.
There's only one.
Like it's
Yeah, but the one you're listening to right now is the filet mignon of Seuss.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you can have a hamburger, but why are you going to have a hamburger if you had filet mignon? That's all I'm saying.
Or even green eggs and ham.
Yes.
yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, yeah, again, thank you, Wes, for coming on. I think we all really enjoyed it a lot
was
here.
awesome.
Yeah.
So that's,
Thank you.
yeah, definitely. And that will do it for another unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. And we will finish just as we always do with another Universal Is. And this one comes from Rudy Ryan. Now, if you want to help wrap up the podcast, all you have to do is send us what you think Universal is in 3 words or less to podcasts@uuopodcast.com. And we will end the show with them. So, but for now, Rudy says Universal is heaven on earth. See you next week.
Guess that wraps things up for another unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. You guys did all right. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere podcasts are found. You can find our blog at uuopodcast.com. Send us your spews, which Lou gets your poo recordings, questions, or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, and our awesome sponsors, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company. So, until next time, don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.